Hi, I'm Susan Hersh from Meet the Experts. 1 out of 6 Americans rely on food assistance. That rolls up to about 49 million people, and that, of course, is because of the state of our economy. Gary Oppenheimer founded ampleharvest.org to help Americans who are food insecure. Gary also was voted CNN Hero this year because he found a solution for a situation that's social in our country. Gary, so nice for you to be here with me today.
Thank you very much.
Why did you start ampleharvest.org, and when did you found it?
I started it because I hate waste, and we have a lot of wasted food in the country, and we have a lot of hungry people in the country, and it seemed to be an easy, obvious solution. Ampleharvest.org was an idea that I had in March of '09 when I was involved with a community garden here in our town of West Milford, New Jersey, and the actual public ampleharvest.org became publicly known on March 18th of '09. So from the day I had the idea until the day it became publicly available was 7 weeks. So it's about 18 months ago.
And you being a professional gardener yourself.
Well, a master gardener, not professional, but yeah, I do a lot of gardening, and in the past I've grown a lot of food, and years ago, I think it was 2007, I had a really good year, and I grew 40 pounds more of food than I could possibly use, or that my wife would let me bring in the house. And so I wanted to get it to somebody who could actually use it, and I found a battered women's shelter here in town, and I took it to them, and they were very grateful to have it, and I enjoyed giving it to them. And the woman who took it from me said something interesting which just stuck with me. She said, "Oh boy, now we can have some fresh produce," which was an odd thing for me to hear. I hadn't
Because you eat produce fresh every day, and a lot of your farming is done obviously during the 3 seasons.
Right.
And how many food pantries do you actually have registered across America now on ampleharvest.org?
Over 2,900. I can give you an exact number if you want me to look, but it's approaching 3,000, and that makes it about 1 out of every 10 pantries in America is already registered. My long-term goal is to have 1 out of every 3 in the country, or about 10,000.
Just in general, how many food pantries are there in the United States?
Nobody knows, but the estimate's 30,000. Some people think as high as 40,000, which is a lot. And every town has at least one. They're basically in the basement of a church or a YMCA, and it's where people in need in a community go to when they need food assistance. And these may be people who are chronically having difficulty with food, or these may be people newly unemployed who've never had to require assistance before.
Right, some people find themselves in a situation where they weren't expecting to be, and especially now with
this economy,
so
yes.
many people unemployed. There are 40 million gardeners across America. That's incredible. I'm not one of those statistics yet, but maybe I'll join you after this interview today. How does your website actually connect the backyard gardeners with these food pantries?
Think of ampleharvest.org as a Google-type device, and basically the food pantries register themselves, and we're working very hard to get more and more food pantries up on ampleharvest.org and to get the word out to the gardening community. So food pantries register themselves. They're now in this national database, and then when you're the gardener who wakes up one morning and looks out and sees more tomatoes than you can use, you go to the site, you key in your zip code or where you live, and a list of food pantries comes up on the screen in distance order with a Google map next to it. And you pick the one that's most convenient to you. You click on that, up comes the details about the food pantry, and then you take your food right to the food pantry.
And I've been on Gary's website, and I'm not exactly a very technical person, but it is so organized and so easy because as an experiment, I put in my zip code and I wanted to see all the local food pantries, and I would never know that they existed, but I found them on your website. So of course, one benefit for gardeners to use a food pantry is, like you said, they can get rid of all the excess tomatoes that they have. But what are some other benefits also for the backyard gardener?
There are several. One is they don't lose friends, because as I personally discovered, there's only so many cucumbers you can give to friends and still have them call you a friend. They are donating excess food in the community. And for people who would like to donate to a charity and may not be able to because they don't have enough money right now, donating out of your backyard instead of out of your back pocket is an excellent way to do it.
I love that. You get to donate straight from your garden, and it doesn't cost you a dime.
No.
I just love it.
And it actually, I mean, there are several other benefits, including that the donation is a local donation, so it's not, you know it's going to help people in your community. It's not like donating to maybe the Red Cross and you don't know where the money's going, and I'm not disparaging the Red Cross, but this is a local effort to help people in your community. You may be helping your next door neighbor for all you know. It helps the environment because...
Explain that, because I was fascinated when I learned about the fact when you throw your produce away in the garbage. I had no idea.
There are actually several components to that. The Environmental Protection Agency now considers wasted food an environmental hazard, and they now list ampleharvest.org as one of the solutions to help deal with that. First, when you throw your excess food away from your garden into the trash, maybe you can't compost where you live, you're adding to the waste stream, and that just builds up trash dumps. But additionally, when you throw it in the trash, when the produce breaks down, and that's any vegetable, even carrot scraps from your kitchen, when it breaks down in the trash dump, it produces methane.
So now, what are the benefits for the food pantries to receive this fresh produce?
They get fresh produce. They normally can't. The normal system in our country, when you donate food to a food bank or to a food drive, is the food goes to where it's going. From there, you are getting it to a food bank. It sits on a shelf for a couple of weeks or a couple of months, and then it goes to a neighborhood food pantry. Obviously, produce won't survive that life cycle. Produce has a limited shelf life, and then it's not edible.
1 to 2 days, I believe.
It depends on what it is. Onions or squash can last a long time, and some plants, like lettuce, doesn't have a very long shelf life. But if I'm donating to a pantry, I can harvest it the morning of my donation, take it to the pantry. The clients can get it later that day. They can be having food that night that is fresher than you and I can buy in a supermarket.
That's incredible. I mean, I'm paying top dollar to go to a supermarket. How can communities start their own gardens? I know that you were the director of the Sustainable West Milford
Community Garden, right? Basically, it's a community activity. You get people who can find a piece of land. Sometimes it's government-owned land. Sometimes it's private land that a landowner will allow to be used, as we have here in West Milford. Here we have a woman who owns a large property. It's former farmland, and she's effectively loaned to Sustainable West Milford the land for a community garden, and they have its use until she wants it back. But usually people are more than happy enough to have it. The group gets together, they organize it, they divide it up into plots, they test the soil, and then it's going out to find people in the community who want to garden. And my experience has been that you will often have many more people wanting to garden than there are plots available. The desire to garden, the desire to get your fingers dirty, the desire to get back to earth, if you will, is really strong in people.
I enjoyed so much spending the day with you, Gary, and for you exposing the West Milford community and showing me all the wonderful gardens here. I thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. I really enjoyed being here too. It was great talking to you about ampleharvest.org.
Continued success with ampleharvest.org.
Thank you.
Until the next time, I'm Susan Hersh from Meet the Experts.